came home with an error and said 23 hours and 59 minutes to reach stream air channel. But I requested it, and I didn't go back to the channel. But I'll upload it tonight as soon as I get home.
No, that's good.
We won't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
No, it's my sister. Every time she comes here, she's coming in. Well, she's 11.
Okay, now it comes to class.
Yay, that's exciting.
Wow, saved it the last minute.
I'm glad.
Oh, that's all for something to do.
I know. But we're good about this. The rest of the day. What's crazy is like now, 4 years. Jump from 2 to 6 and just get passionate.
That's kindergarten.
Oh, great, so.
We were on a Zoom call yesterday. And Jen was like, how many Harris is gonna win? No, everyone like moved. You know, blame me.
Very close.
Oh, good.
They're fucking.
I think it's actually, I would argue that it's, yeah, access to you know, certain podcasts. So all you do is save the details. Yeah, absolutely. I'll see when I come over.
Hello. Just testing. Should we go ahead and start? Yeah. Do we have any housekeeping? No housekeeping except see y'all next week back in Monroe 610. All right, we're going to begin. Hopefully other people will join us because there should be a lot more students in here. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Design Forum. We're excited to hear from Nathan Robinson today. Finally, he was on the schedule last year, and we had one storm interruption and one technical interruption. Third time's a charm, right? Since his lecture is going to be about artificial intelligence and design and illustration, I thought I would turn to AI and ask for an introduction. So I asked ChatGPT, write a brief, smart intro about Nathan Robinson. ChatGPT said, Nathan Robinson is the founder and editor of Current Affairs, a magazine known for its sharp political analysis and witty, often provocative commentary. A master of blending intellectual rigor with humor, Robinson takes aim at everything from economic inequality to political dysfunction, all while challenging readers to think critically and laugh a little. Then I asked, write 4 to 5 sentences about Nathan Robinson's background, including his education. ChatGPT said, Nathan Robinson is a British-American writer and editor, best known for founding Current Affairs, a progressive magazine that blends sharp political analysis with humor. He holds a degree in philosophy from Harvard University, where he honed his critical thinking skills and developed a deep interest in political theory. Robinson later earned a law degree from Yale Law School, which further shaped his understanding of social justice and legal systems. Before launching Current Affairs, he wrote for The Guardian, Salon, and other outlets, offering incisive commentary on politics, culture, and inequality. His academic background and commitment to progressive ideas are evident in both his writing and his book, Why You Should Be a Socialist. Lastly, I asked to write 2 to 3 sentences about Nathan Robinson's passion for artificial intelligence. ChatGPT said, Nathan Robinson has developed a keen interest in the ethical and societal implications of artificial intelligence. As a writer deeply concerned with issues of power, justice, and inequality, he explores how AI could shape everything from the economy to personal freedoms, often questioning its role in reinforcing or challenging existing power structures. His passion for AI reflects his broader commitment to ensuring that technological progress benefits societal, equitable, and ethically. Did ChatGPT get this right? Please help me welcome Nathan Robinson.
Well, I have to say that was quite impressive. There was only one thing in there that wasn't true. I do not have a degree in philosophy, but other than that, ChatGPT was pretty accurate. In fact, some of that was quite beautiful. I felt very touched. So it's kind of strange to think that all of that came from an entity with no mind and no feelings. So I wanted to talk to you about AI and graphic design. And so as Daniela, by way of ChatGPT, mentioned, I edit a magazine, Current Affairs. And we are located here in New Orleans. We have a small staff. Our lead graphic designer is Callie Trainer-Bloom, and she has been designing our magazine for 5 or 6 issues now, a bit. And so, as you know, AI is, has caused all these kinds of revolutions and disruptions. There are these new tools that are out that are really posing a challenge for journalists, for musicians, for everyone in the arts, for artists, for designers. And so today I want to talk about, because we actually have some kind of hands-on experience with this technology at Current Affairs, I want to talk to you first about what we're talking about the technologies and how they're going to affect us in the world of design. I used to design the magazine myself before Callie took over, so we both have a lot of experience doing magazine design. How we've kind of managed to incorporate it, and also the ethical issues, because obviously there are a lot of questions raised about
the way that these technologies work is usually to sort of suck up a ton of data, and oftentimes that's people's copyrighted artworks and design and drawings and pieces of music and sort of regurgitate them. And so there are real serious ethical questions about, well, is this stuff going to replace people? Is people's work going to get taken and then used in ways that put people out of work? I happen to be kind of, there are people who are real what they call techno-optimists who think that AI is going to revolutionize everything, it's going to change the world, it's going to usher in a utopia. There are kind of what we call doomers who think that, that AI is going to perhaps cause human extinction. I sort of stand halfway between the two. I think these are technologies that have quite a lot of potential. They also can cause a lot of disruption. I think that as it stands now, we have some really cool tools that you as design students, I think, should get to know and get to use, get comfortable with, because I don't think that these technologies necessarily have to put designers out of work. There are some things that they automate that we might not want them to automate, but there's also lots of cool possibilities that are opened up for you as a designer. And so we have found with the magazine that we're actually commissioning more original artwork than ever, but we're also using AI for certain limited things. So we're not using AI ever to replace the work of artists. We want to use it to help artists, and I'll show you how we do that because it's kind of cool. So yes, that was ChatGPT already went through my whole bio, so you should subscribe to our magazine. So what are we talking about? We're talking mostly about this generative technology, right? So that generates new images, new music, or code, or text in the case of ChatGPT, where you type in a question, or you say, write me a sonnet, write me an argument, and something is generated. And specifically, we're going to be focusing here today on mostly image generators because we're talking about graphics. So you might have heard of or used DALL-E or Midjourney, and I'm going to show you a little bit about Midjourney, which is what we've used for current affairs. Now, there's all kinds of artificial intelligence because obviously it just refers to things that automate ordinary human processes of thought. So there's this whole other category that is not really generative, but it's sometimes called discriminative. That's things like speech recognition or driverless cars, where they're not producing new text or new images. Now, it is advancing rapidly in its capabilities. I don't pretend to speculate on where it's going to go. We do know that it's causing lots of disruptions. I'm sure you've seen lots of horrible deep fakes of various things that are very kind of disturbing. I've been trying deep fakes of my own voice recently, which is very eerie and horrible. And obviously in universities, there's been lots of disruption caused by ChatGPT written exam answers and all that sort of thing. But it can also create major opportunities. Some of the voice generators have, it creeps me out and allows you to scam people, but it also allows people with, say, ALS to simulate their own voice and get their voice back. So there's some really cool stuff that's come about. I'm sure all of you now have tried out ChatGPT, and so you can ask it anything. I'm very nervous about my lecture at Loyola tomorrow. Can you say something reassuring? And then, of course, it tells me how to be comfortable with my lecture at Loyola. There are hundreds and hundreds of tools. So there's like 152 best AI tools of 2024. It's causing chaos. These are just some examples. Lawyers being fined for using ChatGPT, and then it makes up cases, just like it made up my philosophy degree. And journalism, which we're in, a lot of media organizations are replacing writers with AI written stuff. And so for those of us who are in the creative professions, this is very scary because we all think, well, what happens if my work could be automated? So in the realm of design and art, image generation technology is really, really, really powerful in a very kind of scary way because of the range of its capacities, and it's improving fast. I'll show you just how fast it is improving. And it's true that artists and designers can be really hurt by this. But I also do think, as I said, they can reap the benefits. This is how far we've come. Okay, so this is like this is, if you ask for, as you might know, to generate images with AI, you're usually entering prompts. You get the text-to-image descriptions. So if you ask, for example, for a clock designed by Dr. Seuss, the type of clock you would have. Now, in 2022, this is what you would have gotten out of an image generator, and what you can kind of see is it has what we might describe as a Dr. Seuss vibe, but it's a mess. These aren't very good. You couldn't really use these for anything except perhaps a little bit of inspiration. Well, 2 years later, if you enter a clock designed by Dr. Seuss into Midjourney here, you're getting things that are really on another level. I think you can see here that Midjourney is doing something that I would describe as creative. Not just, this seems to me to be kind of rote or obvious. This seems to me like it has had to incorporate a quite subtle understanding of the forms and the colors and the general feel that something designed by Dr. Seuss might have. So I'm just going to show you lots of examples. These are just, I mean, I do image generation just for pleasure. I think it's really fun to see what's going to pop out. So these are just bunches of things that have come out in response to various, just text, describing what you want, and the things pop out. And so it can do things like photographs. Obviously, these are all not real people. These are all AI people. Paintings, fake paintings. Of every different kind. And again, I think what you will see is, the criticism that is made of these technologies is quite valid, is that it regurgitates or it does cliche or pastiche. It can't be original. And so when people think of world of horrible AI-generated content, is going to be very derivative. But what I found is that if you really if you play with it like you might play with a piece of clay, you can get out quite astounding images. Stills from non-existent films. These are things I've asked it for in the style of films. Again, none of these are real people, although some of them are based on real people. That man down the bottom left is based on Charlie Chaplin. You'll see Cary Grant up there, Orson Welles. Again, these are not films they ever actually starred in. I made a whole fake Elvis film called Tentacle Fever, complete with film stills and posters and a DVD. If you want to experiment with clothes, you could experiment with clothes. I enjoy designing weird fashion. And I think what you might start to see here is how, even if you don't use any of the ultimate images that you might spit out, as a creativity aid for the human designer, it's very powerful. So I might not, and I don't know if I have ever used any one of these images, but what I like about this, and what I like about having a folder on my computer full of generated images, is that it really sparks my imagination. So never mind outsourcing the creative process to the AI, it helps me. I generate something, I look at it, and then I have a totally different idea that was sparked by what it spat out. You'll see. Oh God, I forgot there was a Trump sculpture in here. Different simulated bits of fake art. This was my attempt to make bits of public transport, a lazy river in the subway, an Art Deco bus station, an old train ticket, a monorail in a forest, some people in the 1960s riding in bubble cars. These were just ideas that I had, and I wanted to see them, and it helped me generate these. If you are interested in architecture, you can create lots of fake buildings. This was my top left was my attempt to create the ceiling of a library, and I just wanted a ceiling that had a kind of forested vibe, and it does. So these are all, again, completely artificial shapes and patterns. Now, if you look at the pattern in the bottom right there, you can do something quite cool with Midjourney in particular, which is you could create patterns that tile. So first off, you can just have it generate patterns, the patterns you might use just to get, again, as a kind of mood board. But then you can do things that tile like this. So you could create a whole wallpaper and use this as some element in something else that you design. Again, you're doing you're still doing your design work, but you might use this to get something that you use in some way. These were just some miscellaneous things. Let's see, cartoons. Bernie Sanders down there at the bottom, Ringo Starr. These are all just Disney styles. Again, these are not from real films. Furniture I like to play with, designing imaginary bookends and sofas and rugs and that sort of thing. Album covers, I like to design vinyl album covers. I actually made a whole book called Echoland, a comprehensive guide to a non-existent place, which is about the world of the future, and I made the kind of all the things that are in the future, from the public transit system to the books that they read, to the music that they listen to the clothes that they wear, and was able to use the generators to create fictitious toys for the children, the toys that the children play with in the world of the future, etc. And just weird stuff. Let's see. This actually, the bottom right is more interesting than it looks, because the bottom right is its effort to create completely normal looking photos that are just that are boring, like photos of, a couple of people at the mall or some police taking a selfie. As you know, the capacities are really frightening to simulate things that are very persuasive. There's novelties, there's things like, the celebrities working real jobs thing, as you have, Will Smith at Best Buy and DiCaprio working at McDonald's, but also it's able to simulate just boring photos like food at a birthday party. These were just other pieces of art that people had made from a Facebook group called Media Synthesis Universe. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about how we've used this stuff at Current Affairs in a way that I think comports with my own ethical values. As I say, I think a lot about, and as ChatGPT said, I think a lot about the ethics of this stuff, because I do worry, our artists are very worried that they'll be put out of work. So what can you do? Well, at the bottom here, what you'll see is a concrete example of how we had an artist work with material from an image generator to produce an original piece of art that was not in any way AI generated itself. So here's what happened. I wanted something that, I had a thing in mind, all right? So I'm the editor and I commission the art. But in order to do that, I have to describe to the artists what I want. And that can often be difficult, because sometimes you describe things and you're like, yeah, the artist is trying, they're trying to come up with a sketch, and the thing they produce, it's just not what you want. And you're going, no, more like this. So I used the image generator, because what I wanted was what was in my head as an educational poster from the 1970s about ecology and about all the kinds of like you might have seen those posters in elementary school with the rainfall and then the runoff and then the rain and then precipitation, the kinds of cycles that go on around the world. And so I had that kind of idea, but I didn't quite know how to describe to the artist what I wanted the feel of this thing was. So I played around with the image generators until I got these things here. And these things here, if you look closely at these, which obviously you can't really, but you can see that they're total nonsense. So these are what we might call AI-generated slop. And AI-generated slop is when it's unusable, because the stuff, when you look closely, like it looks reasonably realistic here, but if you zoomed in, you'd see that none of the text means anything, none of these shapes are actually of anything. They kind of resemble trees, but they don't make any sense, nothing goes anywhere, nothing works together. But what I found was what the image generator spat out really did give the vibe that I wanted to give to the artist. So this was my way of creating a kind of mood board for an artist. And then the artist made, this is a one-page ad from the magazine called Everyone Matters, and it's just a kind of, it's a kind of joke about how, it's a parody of these things, and it's suggesting that, there's a role for all these terrible things in societies, like arms dealers and landlords and border patrol agents and angry bees and parasites. But the artist made that completely her own, but she used the image generator to kind of prime her thinking on it. And then these are just some other things that came in that were used in the magazine. I made a fake tabloid of Elvis sightings, so I made some old Elvises, but then designed the tabloid by hand. some fake shoes, and then that was actually one cover. We did do one piece of cover art with an image generator that was a smoking frog for our issue that was actually on AI. Limits, there's what we call the hands problem, which is, six-fingered hands and that sort of thing. And it's still not really good at creating final images for use. That's going to get better, but it's a slow process. So you see 3 legs here. This was a thing with 3 legs. Composition, which is if you say I want something on top of something else, it will often put everything in a total jumble. It doesn't understand how elements relate in the world. Stray elements, just weird little blobs and things. The stuff that comes out is often kind of slop. I describe horrible Wes Anderson crap because there's a whole genre of AI-generated fake Wes Anderson movie stills online, and they just don't look very good, and they don't look quite what his style would be. They're really very cliched, very uncreative. The existing systems are also badly designed and integrated. If those of you who got here early saw that I was struggling with a Discord, and unfortunately Midjourney, which is about the most powerful of the image generators right now, is operated through Discord, which is a terrible platform. It's not like a Photoshop plugin or something like that. So sometimes you have, these softwares are really not designed for professional designers to use easily. It's also like talking to an alien a little bit. You have to kind of learn this weird language, and it's not intuitive, and it's very hard, and it takes lots of times to try and refine it. It's very inefficient to use text to describe what you want. And there's a total lack of control. You'll notice that lots of the stuff that I've put out here is weird and it's interesting, but I didn't have that much control over it. So I would describe it and something exciting or surprising would pop out, but it's very unpredictable. You just have to kind of accept what you get. And that's why, as I say, for the designer, it's often most useful as a way of stimulating your creativity that you then bring your actual skills of design to do something real with. And a lot of stuff is low resolution. Oh, here's another example of applying it in practice in the magazine. I really thought it would be funny to have in our magazine, we have all these fake ads, so we don't have real ads, we're a nonprofit, so we have fake ads. And so I thought, Karl Marx selling Coca-Cola. Karl Marx sells out because he has no money, and as he did not have throughout much of his life, and gives up and starts hawking Coca-Cola in our magazine. And so I wanted one of those. I wanted that style of like Norman Rockwell, the classic old Coca-Cola ads. And the wonderful thing was, you go to Midjourney and you type in Karl Marx as he would be painted by Norman Rockwell, and it spits out all of these Marx Rockwells. Now, most of the first ones are terrible. That's when you iterate, that's when you refine, that's when you take the best one and ask it to make some minor adjustments. The actual Karl Marx had very interesting hair. He had a great white beard, but his mustache was always a darker gray or black throughout his life, and the image generator just could not get that he had the black mustache, and it was just every time he's got the white beard or he's got a black beard, it just couldn't get his real hair. So there's some photoshopping work in here to try and get Marx to look more like Marx, and to get the Coca-Cola logo to look like the Coca-Cola logo instead of just like garbled AI nonsense. But the fundamentals of the image are then, and this is actually Callie's work designing the type and the Coca-Cola logo and all this stuff that makes it from the original thing into a full ad. And then we also had a Marx versus Batman comic, which again, it spits out the image, but then that was my design for the cover. So if you try and do this stuff on your own, what are some tips in order to get interesting things or to get as close to you want as to what you want out of it? The first one I have is always do lots of iterations. So you play around with the stuff, it spits something out, you realize that it's terrible. It's just awful. You don't like it. So rewrite. You have to learn to speak to it. You are kind of speaking to a little alien, and you're trying to learn its language. So refine it. Move the words around in what you're saying. And you may find, and then try again. And you go, oh, that's a little better, or no, that's in the wrong direction. So it's kind of an iterative process. So learn to speak the language. And it's only only as good as the reference material that it has, because of these systems have been built by sucking up all of this image data. Oftentimes, if they just haven't seen something's not been in their training data, they have no idea what to do. And so then you just get stuck. You're like, it doesn't know this, so no amount of eloquent description on my part is ever going to get it to do what I want it to do here. Just to describe a couple of other little functions that you might want to experiment with this is again Midjourney in particular. Midjourney has a blend function where you can take different images, and they can either be things you've generated or they can be photos that you have lying around, and you can merge them into one. And you can do that with, I think, maybe 4 or 5 photos, and oftentimes the results are quite interesting. So this was, you can see the sources and you can see the results. So, a painting of the woman sitting there, the purple dress, painting of the French Quarter, and then and then that kind of model, the photo of the model. You merge them all into one, and you can see it's combined the elements. You have a blue dress, you have what sort of resembles that woman's lips, and you have something that is clearly New Orleans behind. Here you have this woman with these kind of goggles or lenses. You have this flamingo, and then you have these men in zoot suits. And you can see, what have we got? We've got, well, her kind of face, a zoot suit, and then these kind of angelic wings spreading around. And again, you might not do anything with this. It just might make you think about forms that you like. It might, stimulate your thinking. Now here's another. This is going to look a little odd until I explain what's going on here. So another feature it has is what's called describe, where you upload a photo, and what it does is it describes the picture. And then, once it's generated a description from its looking at the picture, you can ask it to produce a new picture based on that description. And if it's done the description well enough, it will produce something that's a little similar to the original picture without looking again at the original picture. So these are both AI made. One is this kind of kitchen. So I described the kitchen, and this is what it produced in terms of, once it looked at this picture, it said a kitchen with dark walls and blue cabinets with plants in the style of Gothic grandeur, detailed dark gold, dark gold and green. Okay, so then it's giving you a prompt, and then you can put that prompt in, and you'll get more pictures that have, as you can see, very much that same kind of vibe. So it'll produce. You got one picture, you could produce lots of variations on it if you want to try different things. And this was a kind of Talavera Mexican folklore inspired decorative PlayStation controller, and once again it gave a description, and then you can use that description to generate more variations that are again very similar but have entirely different patterns. Now, in terms of what it can do, how it captures the kind of feel of things, on the top row here are the paintings of one of my favorite artists, and I have a firm principle that you should only ever use long dead artists in your prompting, because one of the real challenges of these things that, is ethically is that they are stealing artists' work. So, but when people have been dead a long time, I don't mind playing around with their work. The paintings of Leonora Carrington, those are her real paintings. But then if you ask Midjourney to generate Leonora Carrington paintings, it does the below, and they're not as good because the stuff, when you start looking closely, doesn't make sense in the same way. Now, a lot of her stuff doesn't make sense, but it's purposeful, whereas this is more arbitrary. But what you can see here is that it really does kind of get her vibe. It really gets the feel of a Leonora Carrington painting, even if it can't do it as well. And so what you can do, as I have done, is applying its understanding of Leonora Carringtonness, which is what I'm going to call it, to any subject. So this was, I said, Leonora Carrington, if she painted the French Quarter, was these ones up here. Or Leonora Carrington, if she designed a handbag, or a Christmas ornament, or a plush toy, or a public sculpture. And you can see that, again, she did not design these. These are wholly new, but you can see that they do kind of give you more of a sense. Again, if you want to think about say, again, you don't want to use these, but you want to think about, I want to, what would a sculpture by Leonore Carrington look like? This can help you, this can help your mind. The same here with the legendary designer Massimo Vignelli, who these are original Massimo Vignelli pieces of design, right? And you may have seen some of these. Of course, he designed the New York subway, the legendary New York subway map, what it does, interestingly, is if you kind of boil this down and you say the design of Massimo Vignelli, it will give you, before you apply it to something, if you say just generate me Massimo Vignelli design, it generates the thing in the middle, which is kind of its understanding of the feeling of him, but then it will apply, I say design a lamp like he would design it. Well, he never designed that. That is not one of his designs. Design a bag, design a computer workstation. Some other things that are starting to be developed is ways of, I mentioned the lack of control, but this is a way in which there's sort of more control. I haven't experimented with this myself, so don't ask me how you do this. But someone did manage to. What they do is they take these input images and they put these key points along them and these shapes so that you can kind of manipulate elements in the image and how they're going to be shaped. So what you can see in this image, which kind of went viral online a few months ago, was this design where the clouds are part of the spiral and the shadows are part of the spiral and all the buildings are part of the spiral. And then, they did it also with human bodies. And then if you want to see things I've done, I just play with this on Instagram. I have an Instagram called Esoteric Artifice, where I just make stuff for fun, and I'm happy to, if anyone ever wants to find exactly what I typed in to get any of this stuff, just let me know if you happen to be curious. And then this is Echoland, this book which is available on our Current Affairs website and on Amazon if you happen to be interested. Okay, so implications here of what I've shown you. I do think it's going to reduce some of the number of design jobs, but I think some people who learn how to use this stuff and incorporate it will benefit immensely. I don't see a way in which it won't be a really important part of creative work just because of the level of power that it has. I think we will still get, I don't see a threat, an existential threat to art, because one of the things that you find out very quickly is that people lose their capacity to be impressed by something the moment they realize it was generated by AI. And one of the things that impresses people about, physical paintings, things people have made, is the process of making it. The things that delight people about art, Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling, if it was generated by AI, people wouldn't be impressed. They're impressed in part because he spent years upon years on his back on a piece of scaffolding. That's why people go to see it. So just because you could replicate or even exceed the complexity of the image doesn't mean you're going to produce something that's going to move people in the same way. So that's good news for artists, is that you can still do things that are going to impress people, and if someone comes along with something generated by AI that's twice as big and twice as colorful, a lot of people are going to hate it. But in some ways it's very democratizing because it does give you this incredible power. I am not... I'm kind of visually creative, but I'm not technically skilled in the way that some designers are. And I've found that this gives me this immense ability to do things like I showed you, collaborating with an artist to bring out something that I have a vision for, but that I'm not necessarily able to draw or make myself. And so lots of people are going to find that they have the capacity to conjure into being these images that maybe in their head or in their dreams, but they were never previously able to do. there's a lot of hype. A lot of people, as I say it's going to cause human extinction or whatever. But I think separate from the hype, I do think it's a real revolution. I've been kind of shocked at the power of the technology. I think it's really quite astounding. And I think many of the things that are considered problems with it are actually going to be solved within a few years, probably. So some of the slop, some of those things where when you zoom in, nothing really makes sense. I think there's going to be a lot of tweaking. For example, already the six-fingered hands problem is being solved. So Midjourney is much better at doing 5 fingers on a hand because they recognized that it kept generating random numbers of fingers, and then they told it, when you have a hand, only do 5. And so then you have a problem that's kind of solved. And there's going to be, we're in the very infancy of the technology. I do recommend playing around with different tools, though, and you just see how it complements and how it can be integrated into your existing design work. Again, as I say, always with ethics in mind, always with the understanding that these technologies. They do threaten livelihoods. They do have immense power, and we have to be careful how we use them. Much of the stuff that is produced with it is just kind of novelty now, and it hasn't been well incorporated into design. Although I do think lots of people are using the generative fill tool in Photoshop now that came in a few months ago, and is immensely powerful. It's not as good as Midjourney for doing really nice looking stuff, but I've just been using it because in Photoshop we had some people shot an ad for us. We had some people shoot, and we have ads in every issue of people reading the magazine in interesting places. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough. There was something that looked like it should be a bridge, but then the photo cut off. So I conjured a bridge out of nowhere, and that fixed the photo. And now there's a very impressive bridge in the photo. So this is great because you're all much younger than me, so you'll be kind of used to this, but when a technology comes about when you're young, it's just integrated into your life. But I know that this is still really amazing for me because this is like something out of this is really still something out of science fiction for me. The idea that you could just go, draw me a bridge, and it goes, it's integrated seamlessly into the existing photo. So that's really exciting. Coming developments, there are going to be better integration of the tools into, we already see that with Photoshop doing generative fill. Midjourney, as I say, is in Discord, and it's terrible. I really hope they finally integrate that into something else. The composition problem, which you have an example of here, where it says, an elephant in a pickle jar held by a lizard standing on the shoulders of a rhino sitting in a bowl is the instruction. It never gets it right? So a human being, if they were given the instruction, an elephant in a pickle jar, they would put the elephant in the pickle jar. But unfortunately, we're so far from it even understanding that you put the elephant in the pickle jar, and it's not just a random collection of elephants and jars and mess. Obviously, film now. I don't know much about the new film tools that are available because I don't work with the moving images, but a lot of them seem very frightening and also very powerful in the same way. Yeah, so on the ethics thing, obviously there's the fact again of its source material and where the source material comes from. There's the job loss. I've got an example here of someone who says they were, Midjourney came into their employer and they basically lost their job overnight. The loss of soul in our artistic creation is a real risk. When stuff is produced really easily, without care, without the human touch, things can be done really lazily, and so. And then there are the nightmarish possibilities, like the unethical use of deepfakes in scams and that sort of thing. Okay, that's the end of the presentation portion. I just wanted to I just wanted to show you what I was talking about with Midjourney. So this is Discord, and what I had it do. This is where Midjourney is located. So you have your Midjourney bot here. And I asked it to give me Loyola University New Orleans. And it generated 4 things, none of which is actually a photograph of Loyola University New Orleans. But you can see that it kind of knows what, it's clearly looked at a picture of Loyola before, because it knows something about, it's got a vibe. And you can pick one of these. And if you pick one of these, you get a big image. And you can use this if you like. You know, what's great is you have full copyright. These are not copyrighted, so you get to do whatever you want with these things. So I have this, and I can take any element of this if I want. And then I can also, some of the things you can do, I mean, some of you may have seen this or tried this, but I'll just show you, is you can do variations. So I'm taking this one image now, and I'm asking it to do variations on the image and to zoom out. So zoom out will give me more around the building in the same style, and then it always gives me 4 variations, and then vary will give me things that are like this building but slightly different. And again, so to zoom out, you can see it's taken us, it's given us, and so 4 options. So this U button means upscale, so you can get a much bigger one. So there we go. So then we have more of this image we can use in the background of something. And again, because it's AI and because AI isn't very good yet, if you look closely, you'll start to see things that are quite wrong and that an architect would highly disapprove of. But it's kind of like a spot the problems in the image thing. So if you superficially, you're not gonna notice that much wrong, but then when you zoom in, you will. So that's zooming out. These are the variations, and you can also vary by region. So if I don't like let's see if this is going to work for me. Probably not. Well, yeah, okay. So if I don't like this top half, and I can just select it, and I can try and make something slightly different. And again, you just go and wait. Earlier, I was trying things like, a Yeti at Loyola University in New Orleans. But then, I can redo, and I can add a lot more descriptors. So I can add dark shadows. Oh, here's the other thing. When you're doing this prompting work, my recommendation is to be very stream of consciousness about it sometimes. So you're not speaking to it in sentences, at least not for this. ChatGPT, you speak to it in sentences. But monstrous, night, let's see. These are, so you can say, I'm just doing kind of word association here. I'm just doing really kind of like things that vibes. There's a lot of vibe-based stuff here. I tried to do, the great surrealist artist Magritte I incorporated in to give us a little more of a painting effect. I then changed Magritte to Picasso, and it gave me a little more terrifying of a Yeti. It's not really very Picasso-like, but it is kind of cool. And very much like a painting. You can see all the strokes there. Okay, so there's our one. After entering, dark shadows, angry, teeth, monstrous, night yellow, light, beastly, cinematic, you can see now we're cooking. And he still seems to be at Loyola if you look carefully in the background here. And if we zoom out here, he'll probably be we'll get a bit more of our fake university. So up here, my ones where I try to replace little pieces of it. If I want to, again, if I don't like this guy's face, I can get different faces. So now if you want to do describe, then let's see, let me just get one of these. Let's get our guy. Let's open in a browser. You can see it's pretty high resolution. I mean, look at how good these eyes are on this guy here. Again, as a so if I do now this describe function, you can just get, I'm re-uploading the image. Okay, well, it didn't give me very good variations on the faces there. But anyway, I think you could see, so okay, so now I asked it to describe the picture that it made, and it's given me lots of descriptions that I can then use to generate new pictures. So if I do imagine here, it will then make more pictures from the descriptions that it spat out, and maybe they'll be good, and maybe they won't. Another thing that is often quite useful is called tune. So this is so tune is how is where you're kind of training it a little bit stylistically. So I wasn't very happy, for instance, with my Picasso Yeti. So what I want to do is so look, it's generating new Yetis now. So I want to do a Picasso tuning setting, and this. I'll show you how this works once it's done. The other thing I want to do just quickly here is I want to show you the blend feature in action that we saw earlier. I want to take that, save that. So let's say I like two of these. I like this one, and I like this one, but I want them to be blended. We can make that happen. So the tuning feature takes a while, but what it essentially does is it's going to show me a gallery. I entered Picasso, and it's going to show me a gallery of things that it thinks are Picasso style, and I basically choose 10, and I say, I like those 10. You know, that's the style. And I'm sort of teaching it the style that I want it to do future stuff in. So then I can ask it to apply that style. So what you're kind of doing is educating it to give you what you want. Okay, look, our combination. So you see now we have a Yeti that combines our original painting with our little photo one, and you can see he's kind of halfway in between the two. Now, whether he's useful for anything, I don't know. That's up to you to find uses for this stuff. I've found uses for it. As I've explained in the magazine, we do little things here and there, but always understanding that the job of these tools is to aid artists and designers and not to replace artists and designers. So anyway, I think that's the end of the. I can if you want to get any more ideas on how to use this, please, or you want me to try anything that you'd like to see, let me know. But not easily. It doesn't do it well. So if I say, well, let's find out what it does actually. So let's ink drawing a Yeti holding a balloon that says "Happy Birthday, Callie." We're going to see what happens, but usually it's pretty garbled. Type is actually one of the real weaknesses right now. I don't think that's going to last as a weakness, because I think type can be done pretty easily. It's just nobody's bothered to incorporate it well into this system. So what you're probably going to see here is it's going to come up with things that are not that good. Well, they're okay. But as you can see, number 3 just says birthday and then happy birthday, Callie, over here. So it's not quite what you want. Yeah. But it's better at words than it used to be. See, now it's getting closer and closer to, because it used to be that it would just spit out total garbled nonsense that was an imitation of letters and numbers. Now you can actually see that in most of these, in fact, I think in all of these, it said happy birthday correctly, which is, yeah. Daniela. Yeah.
Like, you obviously have Callie's layout, a lot of the type, and thinking about your magazines,
yeah.
You definitely need a human in there to help you lay stuff out, figure out hierarchy of
oh gosh, yeah.
Of the words that are being said. That's why I feel like AI is never necessarily going to take that job
We'll never say never, because we don't know. We don't know what version 2 or version 3, but...
Right, but still, when I think about what you're saying, it's all digital. You know, it's all digital in a way, right? Even like you're saying, the building, you know, that someone has to then build that building, or the painting on the ceiling, right? I mean, you can have a
Yeah.
visual of it, but that's one thing when I'm thinking about
Well,
what the artist is
well, I'll give you an example. This Echoland book that I did. I mean, you won't be able to see it up close here, but like I have the images, but the whole book, you know, for each of these, I did parodies of old like pulp comics, right? And I had it spit out a bunch of images that were kind of parodies of the pulp art that would have been on one of these 1920s or 30s monster or detective comics. But then I had to go study, you know, just as any designer would, and do all the type and the layouts and get everything right, because it can't get you to a final product, and so, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, all of this, you know, yeah, the machine made a ton of stuff for me, but I still feel as if all it's doing is bringing out my own vision, and I had to do, you know, ton of work to put the book together, and you know, Callie had to do a lot of work on the Marx ad. You know, there's a lot of work that still goes in and that is to be done. But this can just expand. It's just a tool that you just put in your toolbox and you use it however it helps you. Does anyone have any other questions about that? Yeah.
Just a question about the process that you described before, where you take an image, ask it to describe the image, then generate an image from that description.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how far you've gone with that. So then have you had it describe the image that was created from the description of the image, and then have you created an image
Yeah.
from the description? And I guess...
But then eventually you just kind of get in a loop.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, does it change, or is there a certain status where does the description and the image family repeat, or does it...
Well, what you'll notice is they don't repeat because the variations are small enough, and essentially you have the forking paths. So this description that we did here of these Yetis, and then I generated one here, the moment I do, I mean, to answer your question in a very direct way, right? So we uploaded a picture, we had it describe the picture, I had it make from one of the 4 descriptions. This is description number 1. Now I've picked image number 3 from description number 1. Image number 3 is here. If we do this and save that and we put in a new description, you're going to find that the 4 descriptions are probably not, they have elements in common with the first 4 descriptions from the previous image, but wait, not that one. But they're different enough to where the images that they then generate are going to be, you know, we're still talking like Yetis, monsters in front of houses, but it's not gonna be identical. In fact, there are ways in here to make it do identical images using a seed code. So if you do want to get the identical image the same time, you can multiple times in a row. You can do that. But as soon as you start changing words around, or even if you do the same prompt 5 times, the same prompt 5 times is not going to give you 5 exact. The range is kind of spectacular, like how many variations even on the exact identical prompt it can give you. So you can see we're getting things that are in the same ballpark, but they're all different. And it'll start to, if I take one of these and I put it in and I ask it to describe it, I mean, slowly we can sort of veer off if we want to, or stay in a kind of loop. Yeah. Other questions?
So can we give it some graphic design prompts and see what happens?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you type in Swiss typography 1950s?
Let's do it.
Packaging, breath mint, evergreen.
Oh, I'm so excited. Let's see what happens. Because sometimes you'll go, wow, that's exactly, and sometimes you go, what is that? Give me another one. Let's get another one going.
Somebody else say something.
I would love to see a attempt satire. So could we try to do a prompt that does your Nike culture jamming ad, where we say, create a culture jamming poster, satirizing Nike, something like that, and see if it gets anywhere near what you got.
Okay, there we go. How do you feel? There's no type. But your vibes. But if you want,
It's speaking Swiss landscape,
yeah,
so it doesn't understand
No.
topography or something.
no. And if you were more specific, like if you put commas in here, it's probably going to give me something more closer to, yeah, here I know. No, all it knows is we have a shoe. That's all it knows. All it knows is Nike is a shoe, but there's no satire here.
Bird in that one.
Yeah, there's a bird. I mean, I don't feel like it gets satire at all, really. That's one thing that humans still... And you'll notice that like ChatGPT is terrible at jokes as well. If you ask it to give you jokes, they're just the worst jokes. So humor,
So you changed it there.
I changed it to make it, and
Now let's just say Swiss letter forms.
Okay.
Letters or alphabet or
Logo,
logo.
Swiss letters, alphabet.
1950s packaging. Mint. What does she have in her mouth?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It's a mint.
I mean, I guess it's this way. As you see, the level of control that you have and the level of specific. I mean, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's god awful, and then that's why you, as the human. But what you have to do is be prepared to be surprised and let it take you in unexpected directions, and then you get inspired by the thing that it produces. Like, I like this. Oh, okay, there's something here. Okay, let's look a little bit. It's got a lot of work to do before it.
It's closer.
But it's
Closer to.
yeah. But I like this. Like this I could be inspired by. This makes me want to do something, to make something different.
They're putting type on the cookies on the.
Yeah.
The mint with type on
It did.
Oh,
Yeah.
How about a Bauhaus poster of spiders?
Okay.
House poster of spider.
I love this. I hoped we would get to do this together, because it's fun. Come on, let's hear things. It's fun. We can do anything in the world, you know.
Can you scroll back up?
Yeah.
So it just takes a,
Sure. What do you want?
that right where-
Oh, you want the type?
What if you put in a subversive fashion? Will it look up the definition of subversive?
I don't
and figure
think.
that out?
I don't think so. You know, and the other cool thing though is that ChatGPT actually does image generation now, and let's see what it does for this and what Midjourney does. Because ChatGPT is better at interpreting language before doing images. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to do go back to our original Swiss thing. And we're going to see what if it. You speak to ChatGPT more in natural language than Midjourney.
Ooh, look at that.
Okay, Bauhaus Spider-Man is not too bad. This is I like this guy. I like number 4 here. What's great is it's sort of Spider-Man, but
Yeah, it's the first one. The top left.
oh yeah, if you want an actual Spider-Man instead of something just abstract. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What did we get here for? Oh, and then we wanted subversive fashion, didn't we? What's great is you find out when you do when you enter it what it understands something to be, which you don't know until you ask it.
Don't say I don't understand.
Midjourney won't say I don't understand. Midjourney has banned prompts, so anything that is remotely suggestive or obscene, it will not do. It has it's very puritanical on the content filter. Okay, so this is subversive, subversive fashion. And then, oh no, ChatGPT had an issue. Try again. Draw me a picture of subversive fashion. Come on, you can do this. Oh, here we go. You can do it.
Do you see any like human biases in any prompts or any images that generate?
Yeah, tons of human biases. If you, oh my god, like one of the things is that like it's almost like a stereotyping machine, because that's what kind of looking at lots of data and then basically you're asking it to create, you know, the nice word would be an archetype from the data, right? What is the statistical average of a cat or of whatever it's trying to categorize? And so when you get to things like, you know, Peruvian folk art, it's going to draw you what ends up looking like a cartoon or caricature of that thing. So oftentimes it looks, you know, someone who was skilled would say, well, this is an incredibly superficial, poor understanding of this thing. This really is cartoonish and reductionist. Okay, there's our subversive fashion in ChatGPT. Yeah.
Somehow in the text.
Well, what were you hoping subversive fashion would yield?
Well, I was hoping that it would take something that is maybe an object that is like things that are loaded culturally, and then bring that into.
That's another level of sophistication that we're not at yet. No, really, you have to be very literal in your visuals. So, you know, if you want whatever you want to be on the t-shirt, you have to say, I want this thing on the t-shirt, rather than like, I want you to give me really good satire. ChatGPT is a little different. If you ask ChatGPT to, you know, write me a culture jamming satirical Nike poster, you know, if you ask it to do that, it will actually kind of get a little more what that would be. So the slogan is just consume it. You know, and then if I ask ChatGPT now draw it, you know, it will do something that is closer to, because what it has done is it has come up with its concept, and now it is drawing from the concept. So Midjourney has much less of a brain, if you will, to think about things like satire. And now I'm sure some of the words is, yeah. So okay, so you can see this is a lot more like a culture jamming. Be more, buy more.
I wish my students were here so they could see this as like, because I'm talking about things that are in projects for my class.
Oh, okay.
And so like, they could turn something like this.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it's still a mess. But he's got these wonderful dollar signs on his shoes.
It's so hard because we want our students to come up with that idea. We don't want them to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So.
Well, my class is open to outside students, so I'm looking for tools that like anybody can use. I have students that are in like poli-sci and are writers and other things. I'm trying to pull them in.
But it can help you generate ideas.
I like the brainstorming aspect of it.
Oh, yeah, fantastic for brainstorming.
You're still prompting it. You know, you're feeding it, but.
I often use it to generate first drafts of copy for stuff, and then I rewrite it entirely. And so.
Privilege though. I mean,
Only for the ones who can afford.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
Oh, I know what I'm doing in class next.
So again, with Midjourney, you couldn't do any of this. It would have no idea. But what you can do is once you've got, I could say, let's see. So we had our special Nike ad. So what I can do is I'm always thinking about how I can plug stuff into other stuff. So.
Are you all using Midjourney? Who's using Midjourney? Anybody?
Anyone use this stuff?
It's a subscription, right? You pay for
It is a subscription. It's fairly cheap, but it's so. I'm just wondering if we ask it to describe now our ChatGPT Nike ad.
Is that free? The ChatGPT version?
No, you'll basically run out of tokens, right?
Yeah, you got a limited.
Yeah, it said something about.
But the stuff is so inexpensive compared to what it can do that I find that okay. So.
And so it's telling you, it's giving you descriptions of those posters and everything?
Yeah, so now I entered our satirical culture jamming poster into the other software, into Midjourney, and asked it to do descriptions. Now, I'm not sure that it's getting the satirical aspect very much, because as I say, this is more brainless. But I'm asking it to produce. But if I wanted, so ChatGPT is very limited in the visual variations. But if I want more possible visuals, more inspiration, yeah. So I might. Some of these are kind of better. Like I really like number 3's gold. Like this person here is quite cool. And so we have lots of variations we can use now. And going back to what our oh, come on, try again. So you can see that this is just tons of fun to play around with. Just to show you my esoteric artifice thing here, where I just really play with tons of stuff. I do just lots of weird stuff.
How about in the fall, when one day we can teach class?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah. Oh, here's how I taste the privilege. Water worth worshipping.
Wait, did that just come up from the search?
That was from the prompt. So I asked ChatGPT for another culture jamming ad for a different product. So I said, after we did the Nike one, write another one. And it did, okay, I'll do satirical bottled water. Here's some visuals. Here's a slogan. Here's the tagline. And then I said, draw it. And it drew me this. Aqualux, taste the privilege. So this is just nonsense text, but it didn't, again, it's bad with type. No, yeah, it'll get better. Yeah, it could be fixed and will be fixed, but I'm really impressed by its choice of these spotlights here, which are quite cool, and all these people looking at and seemingly worshiping the water in the desert.
I think what we like about it is that when we are teaching students that don't come as much from a creative or design background, it's opening conversations about how designers and creatives think and concept stuff.
Well, I look at this and I think, this is the sort of thing that our magazine is full of, is satirical ads. And, I can't print this in the magazine, but I would definitely think about, okay, I would love to have the worshipping of the water. I kind of think that's cool.
It's dry, it's a desert.
I'd give this to an artist, to do a little better of a version of. Because if you zoom in on this, you'll find that, people are all wrong. And yeah, I know. I kind of want to do this in the next.
So is it telling them, did it describe it like the spotlights represent?
Yeah, so let's see. So it said,
Glamorous image of water bottle on pedestal.
yeah,
Light surrounded by shiny
Yeah.
glamorous effects.
yeah. Behind it is a cracked desert with people looking longingly at the bottle, symbolizing scarcity and luxury exclusivity. So it has a good social analysis built in there. So yeah, so you want to use a mixture of. I mean, what you see here is like GPT is very good for like understanding concepts, and Midjourney is very good for like very high quality, high resolution visuals that have fewer kind of errors in them. And so when you combine your tools, and then you bring in Photoshop, and then you bring in Illustrator, and then you add some type, then you can really do things that are powerful and cool. Okay, does anyone have any final questions? I'll be around. You can talk to me if you like. Okay. Yeah, thank you. That was so much fun.
Can you put that other slide back up?
Oh, sure. Oh, the attendance. Shoot. Oh. I think if I can. Oh, did I screw it up? I did screw it up. Hey. Okay. Oh yeah, and there's others for my stuff. Also, if you want to listen to weird AI music, I actually had, I used a music generator to make a song about giving this presentation. So if you go to the SoundCloud, my SoundCloud there, I asked a software called Udio to make a 30-second country song about being nervous for a Loyola University presentation on graphic design.
Can you play it?
Well, I don't think I'm plugged into the speakers here, but it is on my SoundCloud, and it's got the lyrics there, and those are the lyrics that it generated, which are pretty interesting. They're all robot-made lyrics, so. The music stuff is, and I've done tons of these little songs, and it's a whole other world of interesting generative technology, the music stuff. So that's for a different day, a different class. It's free to use. Yeah, yeah. You get to do what you like with it. No, you don't own it, but nobody owns it. So someone else could use it. You don't get the copyright. Of course, the music softwares are all built on massive copyright infringement, so there's a huge lawsuit right now for this. So they might not last if they lose the lawsuit. But right now, you can produce really interesting stuff with music generators. But the technology is here to stay, so I think we'll see some. You can do incredibly powerful things with music that are fascinating. Okay. What's that? Udio, U-D-I-O, Udio. Suno is the other one. There's two of them. There's Suno and Udio. I have a whole album on Spotify of these things.